Today on MacSog Adventure International, we are going to do an in-depth review of a new custom MH-6 Little Bird helicopter team delivery vehicle, aka the Killer Bee. This is going to be quite a treat, guys, so stick around all the way to the end. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. As you can see, and as many of you might already know, this started out life as a 21st Century Toys AH-6 attack helicopter. It was originally done in all black, and it was released several years ago. I'm thinking either late 90s, early 2000s. And let me tell you, 21st Century Toys really made a lot of forward leaps in the 1/6 scale hobby back in the day. Sadly, these guys at 21st Century Toys had more courage doing like really exotic, big toys, unlike Hasbro. And that was one of the main problems back in the day. 21st Century was very innovative in that they released really fantastic vehicles like this ahead of Hasbro. And I think that is why Hasbro never released, anything like this. I mean, one of the legendary releases 21st Century Toys did as far as vehicles was, of course, the famous Bradley fighting vehicle, the Stuart tanks, and of course this AH-6 helicopter and its many variants. They did a rescue helicopter, which I do have, and future variations I plan to get, which is the police version, and I might even try to get another of the black AH-6 attack helicopter, as well as the Vietnam era helicopter, which is a really nice piece. Now, getting into this custom, again, this is the black attack helicopter variant, and what I did basically is take the whole thing apart. Believe me guys, if you're planning on customizing this, that is the way to go. It may at first seem like it's a lot of work, but if you want a trouble-free customizing experience, completely disassembling this is the way to go. Now, as you can see on this side, there are holes where all the screws are. Now, one of the great things that I discovered and loved about this custom was how well engineered this toy is. All the screws are the same size, so there's no confusion about what screws will go to. And basically, as long as you don't, torque it down too much on reassembly, you're gonna have a perfectly sturdy helicopter in the end. Now, the only part that was probably the most difficult is when you get to this separation area here on the helicopter that separates the cockpit to the main body. Because when this shell splits, and it will split in half down the seam right here, it will release this forward cockpit, and there is a plate back here that's sort of like a one-way kind of snap-on affair that basically attaches the second plate. There's two plates. That's the inner firewall and the outer firewall. There's two plates there, and it's attached together by a one-way kind of snapping stud. And all you got to do really is to get the right tool, and there's two studs here, one like a screw here and a screw right there. All you got to do is get like a flexible head screwdriver, and again, the right tool is the secret way to go about this. Detach that, and that will give you an easy detach on the upper studs. And then you just have to be brave and pull straight back onto the plate, straight this way, and that should release the plate. It felt like it was gonna break, the stud I mean, but it didn't. Like I said, it was well engineered. Your mileage may vary. When you start seeing like the plastic doing like a stress kind of thing where the plastic is changing color, back off a little bit, and you might have to kind of either pry it with a tool or something. But for me, it just snaps. It just snapped off as long as you pull straight back. Okay. Reassembly is much easier because of the beveling that it has on the plate. But other than that, that is the only maybe complex part. Once that is off, everything just basically unscrews off, and it's a joy to paint, guys. It's a very easy process. And really the secret to repainting these helicopters is really understanding the material you're working with. So with me, as you can see, this is like a semi-gloss finish on this. I was gonna do a clear coat matte, but I kind of liked how that shine is, and it's an aircraft, so I don't mind that being a little shiny. Anyway, the secret to this, to doing any kind of repaint, is to be patient. Do very thin coats and let it dry. Let it completely dry. Prepare your surface. There's two types of plastic. There's this one plastic here that's sort of like, I don't know what kind of plastic it is. The best way I can describe it is kind of like a softer kind of army men type of plastic. And what you have to do there is to really degrease or really clean the surface. So give it a good washing and maybe do like an alcohol rub on it, just to make sure that there's no grease or any kind of oil residue from the factory on those pieces. And I'm talking about this piece right here and that, because that was probably the only mishap that I had, because when I tried to do some fancy masking work with that, the masking tape just pulled the paint off when I tried to put masking tape on top of the yellow paint. Same thing with this rear stabilizing propeller right here. But if you're just doing like plain black stripes like that, all I did there is covered the original black with masking tape and then just sprayed it. When I remove all my masking tape, I do take a small X-Acto knife and I make sure that I go along the edge of the masking tape really lightly, so with that when I peel off the masking tape, there's no risk of the edge pulling any of the paint off. Basically, it's the same here for the propeller. For this type of plastic, I did experience better results putting masking tape over the yellow, because there was a little seeping underneath the masking tape, and all I did was mask off the yellow and then hit it with an airbrush using black paint, and that's why it's so clean looking. Okay, that's why the masking is very crisp and it's clean. And after that, I just did custom decals, and you can see that I did a custom I don't know what they call those, like, I guess identification numbers, and I went with MS as in Maxog 1966 Adventure International. And I just did like typical kind of markings you would normally find on aircraft. So I did, like, you know, the no step kind of decals, and I did a custom Killer Bee nose art for this helicopter. I did the illustration based on existing nose art that has to do with the Killer Bee motif, and I did a lot of decals also. Well, not a lot. I just did some decals just to make things a little bit more convincing on the interior. I don't know if you can see that. And then on the cockpit, I don't know if you can see it, but I did paint some of the gauges and some of the buttons, added some decals. Another notable thing that I don't know if you notice also is that I airbrushed over all of those ugly silver weathering that the factory did, because it was really unsightly, and the workmanship that the factory guys did on this particular one looked like it was a Friday for the factory, and everybody just wanted to get back home. And of course, most noticeable is the addition of the side seats. And all I did there is I fabricated a platform using styrene plastic stock, and I sourced out some vintage escape car seats, which I then painted. Everything was painted either black or battleship gray, and they turned out pretty great. There are seats on both sides, as you can see there. Now I did opt to keep the weapons on these, so I'm going to roll in some footage of that in its pure Killer Bee mode. So this was older footage on the earlier phase of the build. It was already finished, but here you can see the fully armed version of this helicopter, which is what I call Killer Bee mode. It has both the rocket pods and the M134 miniguns. And right now, there's really three configurations for this. One is a semi-armed version where it has the seats and the M134 miniguns that's normally mounted right there. Okay, right now it is configured for for the upcoming Mystery of the Demon's Eye shoot that I'm going to be doing. Because the passengers will have extra specialized equipment, I figured it wouldn't make sense to have the additional weight of the ginormous ammo box that would normally be here and the miniguns. I think also it ties in with the story, and I'll just leave it at that and let you see it when the new episode for Mystery of the Demon's Eye comes out. I'm going to switch off, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like with passengers. And here is the Killer Bee with all of its crew on board. As you can see, there is plenty of room, and they don't look crowded in there. The original, actually, which this is based off of, is a Special Forces and Navy SEAL variant that's still being used today. That version doesn't have seats, it just has the bench. And believe it or not, those things doesn't even have any seat belts. So I have no idea how in the world those guys are not falling off of those benches with some of the maneuvers I've seen on YouTube that this helicopter can do. It's very nimble in real life, and with some of the extreme banking maneuvers that I've seen the real thing do, I have no idea, like I said, how these operators stay in the seats. Anyway, this was a very easy build. The bench seating wasn't that hard to fabricate, and of course it helps that I already had pre-made seats in the form of the escape car seats that I had to source out. And all in all, with a co-pilot, you're looking at 6 people that this thing can carry at one time. And in this configuration, there's a lot of room in the back where you can put like all extra gear like backpacks and things like that. You know, because seated here, these G.I. Joe figures could literally have a full complement of like plate carriers and, you know, weapons, so they can actually carry their weapons and perhaps even be posed where they're firing down at adversaries on the ground with their rifles. All in all, this was a great customizing experience. Like I said, the helicopter was well engineered. It goes together fairly straightforward, and for the most part it was 95% drama free. The only mishap I had was at the tail section, but that is so barely noticeable it's not even really worth mentioning. The Little Bird helicopter by 21st Century Toys can still be found on eBay and perhaps your local toy shows in all price ranges from below retail to the ridiculous. Just be patient and look for one in the price range you're most comfortable with. Look for this in action on the next installment of the Mystery of the Demon's Eye. I think you're gonna really love that episode. At least I hope so, because it's actually the transition from where it's been to the action scenes. Anyway, going back to the subject of customizing, guys, you know, try out new things. You'd be surprised what you're capable of. Start out small and you know, build yourself up to something like this. When I posted this originally on Facebook, I heard a lot of people saying I could never do that. Guys, if I can do this, anybody can. You know, everybody had to start somewhere, and I'm telling you guys, just, you know, dip your feet in the customizing hobby, and you know, you'll be surprised what you're capable of. You know, right now, none of the major companies, sadly, like 21st Century Toys, they're no longer around. Hasbro seemingly has abandoned us 12-inch collectors, and pretty much the hobbyists, the enthusiasts of this 12-inch G.I. Joe hobby are the only ones that are, you know, making new and awesome stuff. And so it's up to us to keep the hobby alive and interesting. And that's what I hope to deliver in my content and in my videos. Well, that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. I hope to see you on the next video. Like I said, look out for the next installment of The Mystery of the Demon's Eye, and I'll see you on the next video. Maxog out.